Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to show 176 with yours truly, the Hippie Pastor. That would be me. I'm so happy to be back on the show, and I wish you all many blessings, happiness, joy, love, etc. Gents and ladies, as you may have noticed here in show 176, I'm still alive. You said it. And there's a theme that's really important to mention is this thing about eternal love. Everybody's wondering, what is eternal love, right? What's eternal about it? Oh, we're all going to die. But ladies and gents, I have news for you. There is such a thing as eternal life. God would be a fool to create this perfect creation that takes not even a computer, the design of it. And the greatest design of God's creation is sex, right? I mean, look, I'm going to show you something. I hope you can see it. As you may have noticed, these are two flies screwing, all right, doing the nasty, okay? Okay, they're doing the nasty, they're screwing in my apartment, right? They're shagging. Two flies. Let's take one story at a time. And here are two canines also shagging. They're having sex, right? The one on top, the light brown one, Güero, his name is Güero. I'll introduce them, and he's like 4 years old. And on the bottom, taking the bottom bunk, is Sophia, the black beauty. She's 9 years old right now. But they're not gay, you know. Nothing against gay people, but my dogs are hetero. They're heterosexual, and they're having sex. And those flies, I caught them on the windowsill also having sex. Everybody's having sex except for me. But I'm being punished. But ladies and gents, okay, let's take one thing at a time, one subject at a time. I was born into a good family, right, Roman Catholic, and there was love in the home, but we were taught to love our own kind. Love your own kind. Stick to your own kind. That's how we were raised to be. Then a few years into my young teenage years, 13, 14, I was cast out into the streets of the hippie revolution, and I became a drugster, all right? And when I was a hippie drugster for many years, you know, tripping and taking drugs and being part of the hippie revolution, I also followed suit in loving my own kind, you know, just loving hippies, man. They were hippies with a family, and they still are. But there was no love in my heart for non-hippie people. Actually, there was a resentment, hatred, whatever, you know, disapproval of people who weren't hippies, taking drugs like us. Oh, don't want you to see my sexy knees. You might start having sex. So, what it is that one day, you know, like you may have read that drugs, you know, they take you way up to the glory, but then eventually, because your body, you know, you start to descend. And when you descend, some people take various, I don't know, the suicide, jail, prison, various routes. And some people take spirituality. They become spiritual. I don't care if you're a Buddha. I don't care, you know, see, we got the Christian book, we got the Buddha book. The thing is that, the Christians, I never liked Christians either. Too much. I still have a problem with them because of their self-righteousness and their hypocrisy and their holier than thou attitude and their condemning of the sinners and of them repeating false doctrines that there's not going to be sex in heaven. God would be a fool not to have created such a wonderful thing, sex. Sex brings life, it brings production, It brings new beings into the planet, be they flies, be they dogs, be they humans. It's a way to give birth. It's a way to receive love. It's a way to give love. It's such a beautiful thing when it's done in the right manner, with mutual agreements. You don't want to force somebody. But sex is such a beautiful pleasure that was created by God's idea, and He put so much intense pleasure in it. Why? So that people would do it. Insects would do it. Why else? I mean, what is it all about? Huh? Eat, sleep, right? Shit, and shag. And do it. Well, that's what life is all about. That's the way God in His brain created it, and then the perfection of the universe. Don't tell me there's no proof of the existence of God. Now, when I started to descend on my having bad trips and drugs would destroy me, when once upon a time they showed me the brightness of the beauty of the stars, now they started destroying me. I started to seek spirituality, but I hated Christians. But I thought within myself, I said, Jesus, you heard right, Jesus Christ was a bit different than these Christians. He wasn't self-righteous. He had long hair. He wore sandals, right? He ended up killed, as a common criminal. And he had hung out with the homies, with the people on the streets, Mary Magdalene, a bunch of sinners. He hung out with the sinners and gave them hope. That's why the Pharisees claimed he was not the Son of God, because he hung out with the people of bad reputation, right? And his religion was love, not all this doctrine and hypocrisy. He was against organized religion. That's why the leadership of the organized religion had him executed, right? He was such a man of love that these were the kind of nails that they nailed him to the cross, and he suffered it and didn't curse them out because he knew that his sacrifice was to bring us the gift of everlasting life, okay? Now, when I was in the desert trying to quit drugs, it dawned on me that Jesus Christ was different than the Christians, so I started to read just only the words of Jesus. I didn't like the Apostle Paul because I found him to be a total hypocrite and a person that wasn't right mentally. Although he wrote a lot in the epistles, and he wrote some nice things. I'm not saying everything he wrote was wrong, but he was on the wrong track. He took Christianity on the track of hypocrisy and warmongering, just like he was a Pharisee, so it's a Judeo-Christian culture, okay? If you want me to just say it. And, but then one day in my search in the desert, not eating, fasting, praying, trying to find God before I wanted to commit suicide. But guess what? Suicide is just a waste of time. Anyway, out of nowhere, my friends, believe me, God filled me with love. He put love in my heart. It was like better than any drug I ever took. And I just started loving everybody, black, white, Chinese. I don't care what race. I had love for everybody, and he filled me with love. It was such a beautiful experience. And from that day, my friends, I was no longer afraid to die because I knew for real that everlasting life exists. We're not just created for a moment, for this little short lifespan. We're created for eternity, and we're here to learn how to love, and we make mistakes and get up and fight and be a good person so we can continue our route way into eternity. And don't you dare suggest to me that there's not going to be sex in heaven.